together with us right now, and those guys are a whole lot better looking than I am. That's why I bring them in. They bring up the basically the GQ factor of the Funderdome here is when I bring Lynn Groll in from the Defiance Crescent and Andy Brigle from B-Rock. Guys, good morning. Welcome in.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Good morning, Jim.
Hey, it's good to have both of you guys here, and I'll tell you what, we're in the middle of it, guys. We're running out of high school tournament action, high school baseball and softball action. So let's start with that today because I know will be a busy week. Andy, you've got a game this afternoon. It's not actually a tournament game, but you do have a ball game to start with, and then you'll be busy with tournaments as the week goes on.
Yeah, we have a makeup game today that's still going to have some ramifications in the BBC. That's not decided yet. Strikers leading with 2 losses at 8-2, and Hilltop and Eden have 3 losses, and Hilltop's got 1 game remaining, and Striker and Eden have 2 games, including 1 head-to-head. Anyways, one of the other Eden game left was a game we had scheduled in April, Eden and Montpelier. Okay. Today. Then we have that game at 5 today, and then after that, it's all tournament for us, and it's Division 4. Yeah. So,
and Montpelier's pretty much out of the.
They're out of the league race. They're out of the tournament season. This is where that new rule, if it gets passed, will come into play nicely. And the fact that you're not having kids come back and play. You don't want to say meaningless because every time you step between the lines or whatever sport it is, you hope it's meaningful, but games that don't have any ramifications on anything. Yeah. You hope that by that time, because you'd be done not quite with regular season games, but your regular season would be more meaningful if that rule gets passed coming up on June the 1st, and we wouldn't have the situation where Montpelier's done in tournament, done in the league, but they're playing out the string because those are the games that are set in front of them.
Sure.
So.
And, it makes for a difficult, as you and I talked before Lynn got here, it makes for a difficult choice this afternoon for the Eden coach as to who he's going to pitch, how he's going to deal with his team and his lineup this afternoon, because he does have a game that means something.
Yeah, and they play Striker tomorrow, from the way I understand it. So they go back-to-back league, wow. Which could mean then the Eden Striker game might be for a title, although Hilltop is heavily favored to get to the clubhouse. They play North Central today, and I think they'll win and get to 9-3. So then you're looking at, Eden would have to win if they win today. So it does make scenarios like that interesting if you're still playing for a conference. And then you balance, which in my opinion, it's always tournament first over anything, but they still want to value the conference race as well.
You're pretty close to the coaches in the BBC right now. What are they thinking about this whole thing?
I think the tournament is number 1 for them, and it's just Eden and Striker that's left. Hilltop season is over after today, and so that's the only thing that they have left. But they do have that as a possibility, so the other kids should come motivated today. I think both Brett Grieser at Striker and then Brian Moore and Matt Peters at Eden, co-head coaches, say it's tournament's number 1. We want to make that run, but we also want to respect the conference and not roll out a lineup and just say. Because, you still have to keep your bat sharp. You still want to stay sharp defensively for Wednesday. So I think it's an equal balance, but tournaments first.
Yeah, no doubt about that. All right, Mr. Groll, we've kind of let you slide in a little late today, and we're going to make you work a lot harder today.
Oh, really? Yeah, do I get paid extra?
Yeah, you'll get paid a lot extra today. You'll notice a lot more in your check the next time that you.
That's what I like to see.
Yeah, and you'll sit there and go, wow, I'm going to be late a lot more often here this time. What are you covering this week, man?
I am covering, actually, the Bryan softball game over at Miller City against Walpock on Wednesday, and then I will be at the Defiance baseball game with Maumee on Thursday. And before that, if nobody has anything to do, this is out of our area, but if you're looking for a good baseball game to go watch, go see Walpock and Salina on Thursday at 2 at Patrick Henry. Okay. Probably the best player in the state, and Salina's Seth Lonsway will be pitching. He's a lefty, throws mid-90s, already committed to Ohio State, but I doubt he will go there. He will probably be, I would assume, a first-round draft pick coming up here in a couple weeks.
Sure.
And Walpock is the number 1 ranked team in the state, so they also have great pitching. I think I just actually talked to Coach Jason Brand, and their pitching staff has a 1.3 ERA. They have about 5-6 guys that are number 1s pretty much.
Wow. Okay, that's a plus right there to have something like that.
That's a 2-1 type game written all over it, doesn't it?
It's a shame that it's in a district semifinal.
Yeah. That is a shame that that's coming up that early. No doubt about that. You should see a pretty decent softball game, I would hope, because, man, I got a chance to see a really good one on Friday with Brian and Salina. That was a great game with a walk-off home run by young Miss Wheatro at the bottom of the 8th, and went extra innings and a pitcher's battle back and forth, and something that I haven't seen for ever. I've been doing the ball games with the cable here. And we always get a few softball and a few baseball games, and I've never seen anybody hit one out on the boys' side. And Steve Miller and I joked about that the other day. I don't think you're ever going to see that. That park's just big enough really that you aren't going to see anything like that. But on the girls' side, I didn't see one. And the other night there was 3 home runs hit in that one ball game. Including that walk-off home run, but Walpock, the girls.
Walpock is this will be the best team Ryan sees all season. Maybe even if they go really far in the tournament. This Walpock team is loaded. The little that I do know, I know that they can swing the bats, they can rake a little bit, they can score runs. Yeah. So Trista Savage will have her work cut out for her in the circle for sure, and hopefully the Bryan team can pull off a little bit of an upset.
And that's a matchup there that's part of all 4 seeds. Top 4 seeds making it, so they were seeded properly in that Division II Miller City District.
Now that should be a good ball game to watch if you do like a softball game, and I enjoyed it. I'll tell you, the young ladies from Salina the other day were very tough defensively. They made some great plays in the infield and the outfield the other day, and Brian was up to the challenge, and Trista was really tested right to the edge because she ended up with about 130, almost 130 pitches. Again, all the way, it's hard to imagine a pitcher going into the 8th inning, but they just go that way. And one bad pitch, actually, from the young lady from Salina, it's a home run, and the ball game's over. But she really was pitching every bit as well as what Trista Savage was the other night. So it was a really good pitcher's duel there on Friday night. So not too many folks talk softball, and I do know the Bryan Times had a little bit of a problem with the softball coverage when they won that NWOAL, and I was very happy to see the Times come out and say, we're sorry. We just had so many. We made a mistake. This is the way it's going to go. And I can tell you they were all over that ball game the other day. Well, let's turn it to games that really mean something here in this tournament, guys. You have your brackets in front of you. Where do you want to start, Andy?
Well, we can stay in Division II. Lynn mentioned the Wapak-Salina game. That's a 1 versus 2 seed. That's the 2:00 game at PH on Thursday. Thursday, beg your pardon. And then the late game is Defiance and Maumee. Lynn got to see Defiance and can talk about what Defiance is doing better now than maybe that they weren't.
Yeah, a month ago, Andy, if somebody asked me how far Defiance was going to get, I would say they may not get out of sectionals. And even seeing BG, I tell you what, BG may be the best team that they play as far as, and Tom Held said this too, this may be the best team that they play in the tournament no matter how far they go. He said they were the best team that they played a year ago when they won state. And BG had a lot of these kids back, and I tell you what, they look like a college team.
Really?
Every one of their kids is 6'2", 6'3", 220. I thought it was maybe the BG University team out there. They look the part of the athletic part. Each one of their kids, and Defiance had to play a perfect game, and they did. Braden Frederick got out of a big jam in the 6th. BG had tied it. They got 2 in the 5th, 2 in the 6th to tie it. Had the go-ahead run on 3rd, and got a big strikeout on a changeup. And Defiance is just got it going. They've got the bats going a little bit. Bryce Borton was kind of the only kid that was hitting for them all year. Now they got 3-4 other guys that are hitting a little bit for them. They don't make errors on defense. This is the best defensive team that Tom has had since, I believe, 2009. Percentage-wise, they're fielding almost 970 on the season, which is very high for a high school team. I don't know much about Maumee. I know Andy saw them on Friday with Brian.
We didn't see their one, but their number one, I assume, is going to throw. I know he'll throw, but I'm assuming it is Justin Studenka. If you looked at numbers, they were very close. We saw Tyler Archambault, who is considered by the Northern Lakes League to be the best catcher. And so he'll be behind the plate against Defiance. Not very many teams have been able to run on him, so we'll see about that running game. Can he neutralize it?
That's one thing that Defiance does well. They don't hit a lot, but they will bunt, steal bases, and that's how they actually won on Friday, as they did a delayed steal with guys on the corners, and the BG catcher kind of hesitated, wasn't sure what to do, and threw it into center field and let the go-ahead run come home with 2 outs. So that can be...
Archambault's going to Finley.
Finley, yes. So, yeah, that could be something that, cuts down their run game a little bit. I think they've stolen 75 out of like 85 bases this year, so they don't get caught on the base pass too much, and they do a good job of running the bases, which is, always been an MO of a Tom Held team.
And that's a great game within the game then right there is a key is Archambault. I didn't get to see him catch because he pitched and went the distance and really did a good job neutralizing and keeping Brian hitters off balance. That was a game where Maumee scored 4 in the second. Brian answered with 2 in the top of the third, and then that was it. Yeah. I mean, there was a little traffic after that, but not much. Top 4 hitters for Maumee are pretty good. They got a little production at the bottom, but there are holes there. Mm-hmm. So if you get the top 4 out, and you can say that about any lineup, obviously, but for Maumee, it seems like this is really where their bread and butter is getting those guys on. In fact, all the runs came from the RBIs from the top of the order. So interesting matchup. Cam Kuchar's done a really good job at Maumee. Looked at him and I said, "You've been here 16 years." I said, "You had to have gotten the job right out of high school or college." He did. 22, they hired him at Maumee, and here he is in season 16. Yeah. Defiance gets the edge, though, because of all of the tradition, and they're well coached, and they're playing Defiance baseball at the right time. In my opinion, Defiance has the edge.
And that Defiance is a little fortunate. If Salina were to beat Walpock, who is ranked number 1 in the state, they would not have to see Lions Way.
You would assume.
On Saturday. I mean, he throws, under 75 pitches. But you would think that they would not have to see Lions Way if Salina would win, and then you never know. Salina's a different team when Seth's not on the mound. Walpock, if Defiance had to play them, Walpock would be the favorite.
Is that one of those situations where if you're the coach, you're going to really keep an eye on that pitch count, keep that kid under that 75 mark, go to that bullpen maybe?
I think you win the game.
You have to, unless they get up like 8-0 or 10-0 late. Sure. Lions Way is you're going to make sure you win that game because Walpock they can swing the bats, maybe the best hitting team in Division II. In the whole state. So you're probably not going to, go to somebody else in that situation unless you got a huge lead.
And all that accolades that we've showered on Tom Held, deservingly so. Jason Brandt deserves as many too because they're always district, regionals, and even state every year. That Wapakoneta program is really good.
Yep. And they're all juniors and seniors. They have no underclassmen, 15 kids on their team, and they're all juniors and seniors, and that means some of them have to set. They don't get to all play, even though they could probably play for a lot of other teams in the state.
So who's their number 2? If they've got to go with the number 2 in that next game, I mean, are they strong enough to get past a Defiance at that time, or has that become Defiance's chance to get out of the area like you were talking?
Yeah, I think it is. Salina's number 2 is. He's okay. I don't think he's anything that Defiance cannot hit. Now, if you have to face Lions Way, if you get 3 hits, you're probably going to be pretty fortunate.
Yeah. It's amazing, But it's amazing to think about, and we've seen it so many times because we're blessed up in this part of the country where you have a kid who can be pitching for a high school team in a sectional, regional, district final, whatever it might be, or district game right now, and then in a couple of weeks from now is going to be drafted right in the pros, and the next time he's going to pitch, he's playing big league baseball even potentially, So imagine what most high school kids have to think about when they're stepping in the box. To have to hit against this kid. I wouldn't want any part of it. There's no way in the world, But I wasn't good at hitting anybody. You could lob it. Or Trista Savage could lob it up to me underhand from the baseball mound, not the softball mound, and I'd still have a hard time hitting the ball out of the infield. So I guess I'm not a great judge right there. So sounds like that's going to be a really interesting week of baseball for us around this part of the country.
Yep.
Next, what else we have there? What's that was 2, Division 2.
We can go to Division 3. Sure. These are all at Defiance. Fairview and Tenora play at 2 on what would that be? Thursday, and then Archibald and Swanton is the 4:00 game at Defiance.
Okay.
Approximate 4:00, probably be a little bit later than 4.
Sure. Who do you like there?
I would. Tenora beat Fairview already.
Yeah. Make you work. That's why you show up late for class.
Archibald on paper would probably be my favorite.
Yep, okay. I would agree with Archibald.
But good Fairview has got some. They're a veteran team. Justin Smith is obviously their number one, and they got some other guys that can pitch it too. But Tenora has handled them over the years at times.
Okay.
I've heard that Justin Smith's been battling some shoulder issues too. He has
Okay.
not thrown as many. I saw him for the last inning when Edgerton walked off and beat him, but Puffenberger started that game. And I saw when because he's going to Finley.
Yes.
But they mentioned that he's had some shoulder issues, so that'd be something to keep an eye on. Fairview might be more talented than Archibald, or equally as talented, but I would give the edge. And we say all this, and who's lurking there? Tenora. Who's made a living out of getting out of districts.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I don't find Swanton much of a threat in Division III. I really don't. I could be
No,
dead wrong.
I think this is the first time they've been to districts in 41 years
Yeah,
or
just to
something
get to
like that. It's
district.
been, they have not gotten out of the sectional in that long.
So then Division 4 in Bryan, Stryker versus Ayersville. That top part of the bracket isn't a surprise at all, obviously, because that's a 1-3 type matchup.
Okay.
The bottom part is, though, if you go by seeds, Hicksville's the 6 seed, Eden's the 7 seed. And here they are playing in the district semifinals, both playing pretty solid baseball at the right time, and both of them are rematches. From earlier in the year. I think Ayersville Stryker was a doubleheader, and maybe they split.
Stryker, I know, beat them 1-0 in the one game. I don't know if did they get the other game.
I think that Ayersville won that game. I know Hicksville manhandled Eden the first time. Jake Greer hit him, and it was part of a Saturday matchup with Archibald. And Archibald and Eden was a much more competitive game than Hicksville and Eden. But Edgerton got to Greer a little bit. He wasn't sharp in that matchup. People ask me, I said I could see a scenario where any of those 4 teams are the regional team.
I agree. I think those 4 have had teams in the past that have maybe been better than they have this year. These teams are all good this year, but I think those teams in the past have had some really, really good teams. I think it's, like Andy said, even playing field there with those 4. Any of them could get out of there.
Now, do you have? Are you doing one of the games there, Andy?
We're doing both those on Wednesday. That's the doubleheader. Yeah, 5 and 7 at Sumter.
Yeah. Okay, and that should be a lot of fun. You know, Sumter is just it's a beautiful ballpark, but it is. You guys ever seen anybody hit one out at Sumter?
Yeah,
Okay.
before the deadening of the bats.
Okay.
Yeah.
It used to be they'd fly out of there. It really was. It would
Okay.
fly, but the bats have changed in the last handful of years. So.
Yeah. Because in the whatever it's been now 8 or 9 years we've been doing a few baseball games for the Golden Bears on the cable. Nobody's even come close over there at most of the times. Okay, so a long fly ball is still well within the confines of any of those fences over there. So it's an interesting ballpark, but it's a fun ballpark to be around. And I hope as you and I talked this morning, Andy, hopefully the construction is going to be taken care of a little bit better because it's going to be a tough in and out.
If not, plan ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't get all the way through Rec Park. For those of you that are familiar, the teams that are coming, Stryker and Eden would know, and even Hicksville. Well, Ayersville wouldn't. They all have been here before.
Sure.
But if you're coming from the, what would that be?
Either side.
Either entrance, you can't get through the middle of the park.
No, either way you want to go, you got to pick your poison. Whether you're going to come in, from the, I guess the north side or the south side of that. Whether you're coming off of Center Street there, or whatever the street is. Well, you're going to be on. You're living over there in that neighborhood. It's going to be your new.
Not yet.
It's here pretty quick.
Hey,
Knock on wood.
yeah,
Down the
that's
road.
right. Yeah.
And it's nice to have the district back there.
It
'cause
is.
They did not have one there last year, and it's
Yeah.
a shame that a facility like that is not
And
utilized.
nothing against Archibald, because that's
No,
a good looking
it is,
facility,
right.
gorgeous facility, and they're great people and handle it very well at Archibald. But Brian, you're right, Lynn, should have never been left out.
Yeah. Well, it's just a great ballpark. There's a great venue. You got plenty of places for seats. You got plenty of places for the press to be. It just fits a tournament like that one, so it will be good. Have we covered them all, guys? Do we have everybody?
For baseball, I
Baseball,
believe.
we do, yes.
How about softball on the softball side? Who's our?
Defiance and Napoleon also play in Division II in the upper part of that bracket at Miller City.
Okay.
They play actually tomorrow night. They play one game at a time because they don't have lights over there at Miller City, so they just play one game at a time. Division III, Archibald is still left. I don't know if I have the sheet here in front of me.
What's that one?
Archibald.
Oh,
Division
yeah.
III.
Archibald, they play Otsego.
Otsego, yep.
In the Maumee district. That will be Wednesday. In the 3-4 game, the top seed is Eastwood against a little bit of a Cinderella. Ottawa Hills is the 10 seed. that's playing in that one in Division 3, and I believe that covers. Oh no! Wait a minute. Division 3 in the Bath district. Actually, 2 local teams. Patrick Henry, Allen East play at 5:00 tomorrow, and then on Wednesday at 5 at Bath, Tenora is against Coldwater. Those are the top 4 teams that are in Division 3 there. Tenora won the GMC. Patrick Henry finished 3rd or 4th in the conference behind Archibald Bryan, who shared. But I see Cole. I've heard Allen East is pretty solid as well too. So I think they would probably be the favorite as the 1 seed.
Yep. Yeah. And then going to Division 4, Edgerton Hilltop play Wednesday at 5 here in Bryan, and then the late game here is Fairview North Central.
Okay.
Pretty wide open there, I think.
Yeah, all 1 through 4 seeds there. So it's probably pretty even. Maybe Fairview would have the edge in my opinion.
Yeah, being there before.
Being there, yep. They have the history.
Yeah. How far can Archibald girls softball go this year? I mean, they were the champs of the NWAL. They pretty well handed Bryan.
I think if they win one more,
yeah.
I think that would be a great season.
Eastwood will be a tough,
Eastwood,
yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then also staying in Division 4, Hicksville plays Crestview on actually tomorrow night at Elida at the middle school, and then Antwerp and Continental are also over at Elida. They play Wednesday.
Yeah. So it should be interesting. Of all those teams, I know softball is not really the sport that most people follow. Anybody in the area that we know, just like the Archibald girls, that have that shot of maybe surprising from last year? And they had it on pretty deep last year. Anybody out there that has the ability to make that run this year for your guys' vantage point?
A solid run for me would be if one of those teams we mentioned made the regionals, and then I think they're all underdogs in the Sweet 16. Okay,
I would agree. Yep, I would agree with that. Yep.
I have a buddy out there that always texts me and says, "Man, how about a little love for the area track?"
Oh, absolutely.
Around here. And so for the 2 of you guys, basically, I know you guys stay on top of a lot of high school sports. Track is right in the middle of their entire moving and their tournaments. So I guess that their district and semifinal, their district and regional meets and all those types of things. What's going on around the area for track right now?
Well, the league championships just wrapped up. Archibald swept the NWOAL. Okay. Montpelier boys and the Pettisville girls won the BBC. I don't think either of those were big surprises. Nope. GMC, much of a surprise. It was Fairview boys and Holgate girls. That was as status
advertised.
Quo.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Track usually there's not a lot of upsets. You don't. I mean, you go the 100 meters. It's a 10 second, 12 second race. So there's not a lot that can really change up and pull off all those upsets. But
a lot of really good teams and a lot of really good athletes that are around here that have really good chances of making it to Columbus.
Okay. All right. That's always a plus too, to be able to see them move on as well. And I've always loved track because it's more of an individual sport most of the time, other than the relays and all. You really do get a chance to see that person shine. Now, is our buddy over at Swanton, is he playing baseball and running track?
Wait a minute. I do want to pass along a track note, but it's somebody around here, but for college. Nick Demeline from Liberty Center, he's a grad, won the Big Ten championship in the shot put.
Oh, really?
Yep, I saw that over the weekend.
Okay.
So congratulations to Nick Demeline. He was a standout at Liberty Center and continues that at Ohio State.
Yep. And watch for Sam Meese from Napoleon. I think he's in the top 10 nationally in the shot put this season, high school wise.
Okay.
He's going to Kent State. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. He's outstanding. So he's another name down the road to watch for as well.
Yeah. Well, it's fun. It's amazing how those big boys out of Liberty can throw big, heavy things.
The Demeline boys have thrown it around a little bit,
They have, haven't they, huh? They're pretty doggone good, so it's always fun to watch that as well. All right, it's about 25 minutes before the hour, 12 o'clock. I have Andy Brigle with me from B-Rock and also Lynn Groll from the Defiance Crescent. We are talking sports right here on the Q. Need to step away here for a minute and pick up on some ONN news. When we come back, we'll turn it to the major leagues here, baseball, basketball, some other things before we wrap everything up here at noon on the Q.
Yeah, I don't know if Jim told you, I've been house hunting and we bought.
You did buy? Where at? Over by the fields?
Do you know where Moore Pool is in Bryan? You've probably never had to go there for any of the GNOAC. If you go out of here and go up Town Line Road, which runs north-south along like Jumpin' Beans and Sears.
Yeah, that's the way I come.
Okay. Go up Town Line. You're going to see the second road that you can turn left on. It's called Oakwood. It's
Okay.
like over here sits the City of Bryan Street Department.
Yep.
Right across there is Oakwood. You hang a left there, and it goes. You go through one stop sign for sure. You got to pass the park entrance. You could turn in to go to the park, and it twists around to the Ball Diamonds.
Okay.
But you go beyond that one more, and it's a corner lot.
Gotcha.
Great location. It really is.
Back there by that big playground.
Close to the Imagination Station.
Imagination
I
Station.
can see it through the wooded area from my porch.
Okay. Yeah, that's a nice little area.
We put our house on the market on May the 1st, Monday, so 2 weeks ago today, and it was sold by that Saturday.
On
It
the
wasn't bad.
96.5 FM, and I have Andy Brigle along with Lynn Groll. And as we always do here in this 11 o'clock hour, we talk sports. Guys, I know you're all baseball guys. Let's take on Derek Jeter for a minute, okay? Because I heard something this morning, and I thought it was a kind of, I got a chuckle out of it. Jeter, they retired his jersey, I guess.
I watched the ceremony.
Did you watch that?
Yep.
It seemed like that was a big event, sell out and everything. And the question this morning was, that sets up one of about 5 or 6 more Derek Jeter nights there for the Yankees, because they'll have his Hall of Fame night, and they'll have all different types of things, and they were getting a kick and running it down a little bit. But, Derek Jeter, about as good of a baseball player as you're going to find. And I had somebody speculate that he might be the first unanimous Hall of Fame inductee for the first time in baseball history. Thoughts on that? Because he was that good, but nobody's been voted in the Baseball Hall of Fame unanimously on that first ballot.
Lynn, I'll let you take lead.
Yeah, I mean, probably in my lifetime, all-around player. Derek Jeter's probably the best I've seen.
Yeah.
Maybe not the most flashy or stuff like that, but consummate pro and winning big games, making big plays. That play that he made in Oakland in that game, what was it, the game 3 or game 4? That it was an elimination game for the Yankees, and he just
the catch in Boston,
just out of nowhere, just thought it in his head. I mean, most players would not be heady enough to do what he did, and when the ball got by the first baseman, he just ran up there, flipped to Posada, and tagged the out on Giambi, and probably one of the greatest plays I've seen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, I can't think of anybody else at the top of my head that all-around player in my lifetime that's better than Jeter.
And if he gets the unanimous selection, part of it's going to be because of not Derek Jeter just on the field, but off the field, because you'd be hard-pressed to find anybody that's anti-Derek Jeter. Even the most staunch Yankee haters respected what Jeter brought to the table on a day-in, day-out basis. I mean, that's why I'm not a Yankees fan, but I wanted to see that moment last night because I knew it was going to be, and I heard a great stat as they were going through everything. Think about this. In a 20-year career, the only game he played that they were mathematically eliminated in the playoffs was the last game of his career.
Oh, wow.
I'd never heard that stat before.
Wow.
Think about that. Now, obviously, you're not mathematically, you're playing in May and June and July, but think about all those Yankee teams. That just shows what he was, and he personified was a winner. Last game, and then, of course, the magic of the last game, he ends up with a walk-off. I mean, how can you script that?
Yeah,
You can't. So I think if there's anybody it's going to happen for, it probably will be Jeter as far as the first one.
I mean, how in the world, I don't know how you go this far with the names that we have in the Hall of Fame, in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and not have somebody. I mean, Lynn, you're a sports writer. Okay?
Well, some of these guys that vote, if you look through their votes, you're kind of like, I wouldn't be surprised if one of these voters just says, "Well, I'm not going to vote just to be, somebody not to," because it just seems like there's some quacks on this baseball writers committee that drive me nuts. If you look at how last year's went, it's like, what were they thinking? But if Derek Jeter's on the ballot, I don't know how you can't vote for him.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. If you don't, you should be done voting for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How do you change that, man? How do we realign the voters for the Hall of Fame, for the Baseball Hall of Fame, to get a better crew in there? Good question.
It is a good question.
Yeah.
I think you start with getting rid of some of the stodgy old guard, because I think that's the ones that and they're still looking at baseball through the lenses of the 50s and the 60s even, and the game has changed and revolutionized, and some of them don't buy into I'm not saying sabermetrics is everything in baseball and all the advanced analytics, but it's certainly a big part of it. And if you're not embracing it as all facets now, including having a vote and looking at people, some voters for like the MVP or whatever are strictly looking at or let's take Cy Young, they're looking at a pitcher's wins and losses. I saw.
Yeah.
That's not a stat that you can look at.
Wins and losses is the worst thing you can look at to see how good a pitcher is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you go through the history, look at all the players that have not.
But there's going to be a writer that says there's never been somebody that's got all the votes, so I'm not going to vote for him.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. There'll be some old guy like Andy talked about, or who knows who, is going to say, well, nobody else ever has. Derek Jeter's not the greatest of all time, so I'm not going to be the one to vote for him, and he gets all the votes.
It is something baseball has to look at, though, and I don't know what that criteria should be, but it should be probably changed.
Yeah, I would think so, because you do have And you have had through the years certain players, just like Jeter. Go back to a Willie Mays, or you can. If you go back through the history, you could come up with at least a handful or two of people who legitimately should have been a first round unanimous. No doubt, everybody agrees they're in the Hall of Fame, but you got that one guy saying, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to ruin the whole thing. It makes no sense to me at all when you get in a situation like that. All right, I know we're early, guys, but anything off the top of your head right now, baseball-wise, that has jumped at you here in this last week? Obviously not. It is early. It's still just a long way to go.
I'm not thinking of anything that's jumped off the page other than seeing where a team like we've talked about in the past are the Giants. Which team are they? Are they the team that? Sorry, Lynn. I hate to bring it up. I'm not bringing it up for that reason. But are they the team that just played well against the Reds and won?
Right.
Or are they more the team coming into that series?
Sure.
Because that doesn't look like a playoff contending team right now, and I think that's the disappointing. Now, they are dealing with some injuries, which nobody's dealing with injuries, though, like the Mets are. That's been kind of a storyline. In fact, one of the tabloid headlines, you'll appreciate, New York headlines are the greatest anyways. Why does God hate the Mets? And it was right after Familia, their closer, got hurt, and they have had to deal with a ton of injuries.
Yeah. And plus just normal craziness out of that.
With Harvey being suspended. I mean, that's time for them to, I think, sever ties. I wouldn't be shocked if he got traded this year.
It wouldn't surprise me either, no.
So I don't know if anything's really changed in the last week or so that I can say, Lynn.
No, I can't think of anything.
It's such a slow process, though. The baseball season takes so long.
It is, yeah. There's
it really is.
4 months to go yet.
Moving more than anything. On the other side of that, we are winding down the NBA at this point in time, and that ball game yesterday with San Antonio.
Too nice of they didn't see it because I read about it. Great comeback.
Yeah, again, one injury, it just shows you how one person going down at the wrong time turns the tide. Now, I knew Golden State was coming back. They were down 25 early. They were down 20 at the half. That's still too good of a team, too much firepower. Steve Kerr, I think of anything, Steve Kerr being there, not on the bench, but in the dressing room, and they showed his little halftime, chat. It's amazing how a manager can kind of get everybody composed, and that's what he said. We're going to go out. We're going to make we need 3 quick runs. I just need 3 quick scores and stops, and then from there it'll take care of itself. Don't worry about it. Son of a gun, you watch that thing go down, and the next thing you know, they win 113 and 111. Just amazing. Big game tonight. With Boston and Washington tonight. And I know neither one.
I'll take the Celtics.
Are big NBA fans, but yeah, Celtics at home.
I don't think anybody's won on the road in that series, have they?
They have not. No.
Yeah.
It's been a home series. Now,
when's game 1 of the East?
Gosh, Wednesday. So the Cavaliers, man.
Seems like the Cavs haven't played in 2 months.
Yeah, it seems that way. Whether that's good or bad, we'll see. But I can't imagine. Again, you got everybody rested, but my contention about the Cavs coming down the stretch, in a lot of ways, they just weren't in any good shape. They weren't. For me, you crying about having to play back-to-backs, having to play 5 out of 7, whatever it might be. Come on, man. It's a basketball game. You play one game one night. Most of those guys are going to be playing basketball, even if they weren't getting paid to play basketball that much. Look at the Bernard Edwardses of the world and the Hicks and those kind of guys.
Yeah, the athletes that complain that they have to play back to back or so many in so many days, it's like they're going to be practicing anyway.
Yeah, they are.
What would you rather do, practice or play in a game?
Yeah, that's the way I look at it too. And I can't see either one, Washington or Boston, taking Cleveland out. But who do you think has the best chance against them, guys? Any feel for that?
I still lean Boston.
Yeah. I would say Washington just because they have John Wall.
Mm-hmm.
I think he could give the Cavs a little bit of trouble, maybe a little bit better player than anybody that the Celtics has. I know Isaiah Thomas is really good, but I think John Wall is a guy that could, take over a game at times. That either one of them may win a game, but that would be it.
Yeah. Boston has the home floor advantage, so if they get a chance to host, they get to play for them at their place if they go that far. Washington, all of a sudden, that home court advantage goes back to the Cavaliers, which is always a plus. But I don't know, in this league, in the NBA, the home court advantage doesn't seem to matter too much. I mean, for a good team, they'll win one when they need one, you know, from everything that I've seen. So I don't know that really makes a whole lot of difference in a situation like that. Did you watch the golf over the weekend at all, the players?
Did not.
Did you have a chance to see that at all?
Did not.
Man.
Outside, we talked 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
You know, I've got other things in the in front focus, so we were outside most of the weekend when it comes to that.
Well, I'll tell you what, to watch a 21-year-old young man come around that corner and have to hit that, I don't think I'd want to hit that shot at 17 for any amount of money at any time. I'd put too many of them in the drink right there, but here's a guy who's got a 2-stroke lead and just steps up and knocks it right on the green. No big deal. Here we go. We move on down the road. So we may see, maybe we're seeing the new up-and-comer here in the PGA. Yeah.
Could be.
Never can tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody's, to this point in time, really has kind of gotten over Tiger, I think. I don't think there's much of a situation where you're worried about Tiger coming back or not.
I think we've seen Tiger win his last major.
Yep,
Yeah.
I agree.
Too many injuries.
Yeah, I would agree with that entirely, man. It's been an interesting thing. Football, I mean, the rookies have gotten into camp at this point in time. The Browns have already had one of their guys go down with a broken knee, and from everything you read, it was one of those flukes where he was just kind of standing there almost, and he broke his kneecap. I don't know how you do with that, but that's kind of scary. Anything on either one of your guys' front? Tennessee got all their rookies in and out. And,
I think the big key is Mariota. How does he respond from the injury from last year?
Yeah.
All accounts have been good so far. I think that's the big thing. And then, of course, now you're wanting all your draft picks signed. You don't want any of that stuff for any team lingering into the summertime. Get them all in camp and ready to roll.
Yeah, same thing. Bears, any calming effects over in Chicago after all this?
I won't pay attention until they roll out the footballs for real. I care less about this off season, preseason, all that stuff. They're all the coaches are going to say, and all the personnel are going to say, "Oh, we're having a great summer workout." Well,
Sure.
I don't. You never hear anybody say, "Oh, our just summer workouts and our rookie camp were just terrible." So I mean,
That's true.
it's coach speak, and they're not going to give you an honest statement on what's going on, and neither are the personnel. So
Yep.
I'll wait till week 1, and we'll go from there.
And you'll worry about it then. No problem. Yes.
No,
I thought you had
no,
something
no,
else you were about ready to
no.
add.
That's enough on the Bears until their
that time.
pathetic season coming up this fall.
Okay. Well, that's going to wrap it up pretty much for us, guys.
Yep.
Again, one more time around the block. Lynn, you're going to be where this week?
I'll be at Miller City for the Brian Walpock softball game, and then I'll be over at PH on Thursday, and hopefully Saturday if Defiance can win on Thursday against Maumee.
There you go. And Andy, the ball game's on B-Rock this week.
Montpelier Eden tonight at 5. That's a regular season makeup game. And then Wednesday, the doubleheader in Bryan in Division 4. Stryker Ayersville at 5 and Hicksville Eden at 7.
Fantastic. So it is winding itself down. If things go the right way, you still are in the baseball season next week. And if they go the wrong way, the baseball's about
Could be done.
isn't it, huh?
Yep, could be done this week.
Hard to imagine. Well, we got some great weather, and it should be a whole lot of fun. We'll get together again next Wednesday in the 11 o'clock hour. Big thank you to Lynn Groll for stopping over today, and Andy Brigle as well from B-Rock. We talk sports every Monday here at 11 o'clock right here on the Q 96.5 FM.
But not 2 weeks from today. But not 2 weeks from today.
Not 2 weeks from today. And welcome to On the Throttle. As always, right after the noon news, every Monday we get together and we talk racing here in Northwest Ohio and all around the area. And it's always brought to you by Lob Auto Parts, Suburban Auto, AJ Door, Brian Ford, Jason Dietz Customs and Collisions, Trailers and Trailer Repair. We got to charge him more money, I think, for that because there's way too much. Fast Forward Motorsports, Brian Ford Lincoln, and Snyder Tree Service. And with us today, we have probably one of the best looking guests that we always bring in here, Dwayne. Every.
Well, I'm here weekly. Oh.
I said guest.
Oh, okay.
Not you, man. The guest that you brought in with the.
Yeah, I know, but we can't let him off too easy.
That's right.
I agree.
Yeah. Plus, he's been a show sponsor now for heck a year or so. I mean, so you know.
We really got to rub that knife here a little bit harder.
That's right. That's right.
Jay Tristle. Jay, great to have you in here with us today.
Hey, good to see you again, Jim. Appreciate it, buddy.
You have all kinds of things going on. Obviously, AJ Door just ripping right at this point in time. You got a wonderful business going on over there. The door business has been good.
Been very good. Great crew, and we had a small discussion about how things are going, and I've been blessed enough that we're still looking for some more help. But yeah, it's been just a great thing. A business that started with two guys in a pickup truck, but now it's led me to other avenues in my life, and that's why I'm in here today. I have a passion for drag racing, and Dwayne and you, we always have a good time talking about this.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Great to be back and talk about this season a little bit and see what we can do.
No doubt. Well, we'll put one quick advertisement out there for you. If you're looking for a job, AJ Door is looking for people. They pay well, good benefits, everything else.
Absolutely.
Good work, but a great crew to work with, I know, over at
Right,
AJ Door, too.
and people with race shops and stuff need doors too. So so
No doubt about that. Plus, you're involved with Fast Forward Motorsports. How's that going?
It's going well. Me and Cy actually just put a inertia brake in, an eddy current brake, and what it's allowing us to do now is help us more in the fuel injection department. And with a lot of things, with the bigger horsepower cars, we can calm them down. We can actually hold them a little longer and just be able to fine-tune that. And actually had the pleasure of finally firing mine up after 2 years and put a brand new fuel injection system on that. We're also Holly dealers, and very intriguing, very neat. My friend Scotty Gennardo, which is set the world record down at Georgia this year. Mm-hmm. I actually purchased that motor from him. Well, being that we got rained out, Scotty spent the day on the dyno with me, and I actually had Joe from Roush Racing that built the motor. So, it was pretty cool because I have some very talented people that took some time, hung out with me to get this hot rod running again, because it's going to be an exciting year. The car potentially, we lost about 500 pounds in weight. Motor's all new, brand new combination. Danny from Advanced Chassis, I can't thank him enough. He's always helped me build the car from scratch. And we rebuilt this poor car again. But it's going to be a crazy year. And I was showing Dwayne some footage before he come in so he could actually see. But we actually sprayed it, and I'll tell you what, buddy, that big old motor, when you light the candles on that thing, it's pretty amazing.
yeah, that video alone. I mean, and just the video, it's like that thing, once it gets on the track, it's going to be mean. I can tell already.
Oh, yeah.
And it's neat that you can do all that in-house now, too, at Fast Forward Motorsports, do all that testing. I mean, that helps you, too, but not only you, all kind of people. Like you said, we was talking before the hand, you had a friend come up from Columbus for the weekend and tune the car.
Yeah, actually,
car.
Bill's coming up this weekend. This weekend, and he's a great guy. I've been helping him tune I met him at the track, and he was struggling a little bit with the nitrous, and so me and him got to talking, and we've been friends and hang out, and that's what's cool about the whole sport, whether it's circle track and drag racing, it doesn't matter. Guys just really contain to themselves, and everybody has a friendship, and whatever anybody ever needs, except when you go to turn on to race each other, then it's game on, But like the inertia brake, since we're talking about this a little bit on the dyno, what was really fascinating about this is fuel-injected cars are real kind of temperamental down low. And what we needed to do was put a load on this. And that's what this inertia brake's able to allow us to do. were put a load on it, and we was able to go in and start tuning and watching the fuel tables and make adjustments because it's putting the car under a load, and you don't have to be beating on it, but he's taking up 3,000-4,000 RPMs, and you can see the O2s chasing the fuel, and it's so intriguing. And for the folks out there that understand what I'm talking about, it's such a big tuning tool for us, because that day right there saved me probably a whole season, because we found a fuel pressure management problem, which was a simple 120 micron filter that screwed up my fuel system.
Oh my God.
But we would have never caught that. I mean, we literally tore apart the whole fuel system because that was a brand new filter, but it was restricting the flow just enough that on motor it didn't show a problem. When we sprayed it, all of a sudden we lost fuel pressure. Well, that's just one simple tuning tool that could have hurt a big motor or hurt any kind of motor. But being able to be on the dyno and for no more than what we're hitting this, can it hurt it? Yeah, it can still hurt it, but we're catching things. And it was one of the best 12-hour sessions of learning and tuning, to especially be around Scotty. I mean, Scotty was pre-fuel injection back in the 90s when we went to the street nationals, where nobody even knew what fuel injection was. So beyond that, it was really fascinating, and it just once again intrigues me and Cyrus when we're bringing cars in. It's just proving that we're constantly learning. I mean, I've been in this sport since I was 16.
Sure.
So I'm not going to say my age, but my hair's receding, So, very
That
cool.
happens at 25.
Well, yeah. I stopped growing when I was 8. But, and that's what's cool about coming in here and talking about it. And, this business is a side business for us, but very, very cool. And I look to have a big year this year. And, for all you outlaw street fanatics, that watch TV on Monday nights.
Right.
I'm actually locked in with Squinchy in August, which is the boys out of Detroit that we normally race with. He's got the red hot sauce car. Well, we was up to the Autorama, and old Squinch was running his flipper a little too much, and I was like, we gonna lock it in? And so me and Squinch got one race Friday night, 7:30. It's all locked in. All the terms are done.
Wow.
No wheelie bars, small tire, and A to B, and see what happens.
That'll be good.
Where's the race going to be held?
That's actually, we're going to be up to Milan that weekend.
Okay.
It's called Mayhem. I think it's 4. I missed the very first one, but I've been to every other one. And man, I'll tell you what. Now there is kind of like Dwayne when all the big boys come up. I mean, we got guys from down south. It's a big show and it's a big hitter, and there's some serious hot rods. So.
Yeah.
It ought to be intriguing.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. So
For sure.
It does. It does sound like a lot of fun. Tell me a little bit. How did you hook up? I mean, where were you when Squinchy was running his mouth?
Oh, well, we went up to the Autorama. Actually, it was my daughter's birthday, so I took her up and we hung out with all the Detroit boys. And boy, that was kind of a class act for my daughter. But them guys are all cool. You see stuff on TV, but it's like anything. You get off scenes. They're the same way.
Yep.
I race with Brian Chucky Davis and Jimbo and all them guys you see up there, and they got legit fast cars. I think what's kind of cool now, though, the whole pro mod thing come out, and now everybody's going back to it, getting away from the pro mods, going back to the steel cars, because they found out that these pro mods, it just takes a whole lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Well, to answer your question, Squinchy and a few guys were at the Autorama supporting Milan and Peso that puts it on, and Squinchy, now that man off TV is the same way. I mean, he's hyperactive, loud. He's very loud guy. But we started talking, and we've got very comparable cars, very comparable motors. Actually, both motors come from Scotty. So honestly, if both cars hook and come out of the gate together, it ought to be a fair race.
Yeah, it should be. Now, is there a little side money on this thing? Is that how?
Yeah, there's a little side money.
There's never anything like that going on.
There's a little side money on it. We got $2,500 on it.
All right.
One race. It's I'm hauling scrap right now. But I've raced a few other guys. I raced Tony Bynes there before, and we raced for $1,000, and we was able to take the win, but there's been a few where I didn't get the win. So, but that's what's exciting about it.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh yeah.
This grudge thing is, it's like racing on the street, and a lot of people ask me, Trissel, you going on the street? I'm going to answer everybody no.
Yeah.
It's just not for me. I raced on the street when I was young. Now, can I tell you I might be somewhere locally just to maybe see what the car will do? That's possible, but to actually take a race on the street, and it's nothing against anybody. I just got a lot at stake.
Yeah.
Right.
You know.
Tell me a little more about that, because I tune into those guys at times. It's an intriguing watch when you're sitting there and you're flipping the channels.
Yep.
And all of a sudden you watch these guys who appear to be out on some back street
Right.
in Detroit, Michigan, or
Right.
wherever the heck they might be.
Sure.
There's got to be more to that setup. Because you got cameras there, you're filming for a network.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
The cops know you're out there. Things are, they make you feel.
They
like,
do what?
You're doing what?
They make you feel like all of a sudden there's these two groups of people that show up in a dark alley like the good old days in the 60s and 70s. But this is kind of a controlled event at this point.
Yeah,
most of the time, right?
yeah, it's still kind of controlled. Now, Detroit actually shut it down.
Okay.
But now these races that are showing on TV, they did a documentary on Brian Chucky Davis, and at nighttime it showed him at 3:00 in the morning on a back road testing this thing, and it was legit. I mean, and if he was going to get busted or wreck the car, he was on his own.
Yeah.
And he was making some serious passes, and I can't really tell times, but to give you a mindset of where that stuff is, I mean, these are still mid 4-second cars out on the street in the 8th mile. I mean, and you're talking 160 to 180 plus that these guys are doing it on the street, which is it is fascinating. But as far as the TV show goes, yeah, I mean, it is sanctioned off. They do. It's gotten to the point where I think they've got big enough, but there is towns, even Detroit, shutting it down, and so it's still happening, and believe it or not, there's a lot of stuff. I believe it's still happening around here more than what I even thought. But it's cool. But like for me, for instance, I have insurance on the car. As long as I'm on a sanctioned track,
Right.
and not an outlaw track. And unfortunately, I did have an accident once with my car. It wasn't my fault, but that's the name of the sport,
Right.
And but if I'm caught on the street and something happens to that ride, man, and anybody that knows this stuff, there's a lot of money in these cars. It doesn't matter really what you're into anymore. It's an expensive sport,
Yep.
And Dwayne can, even if you're going in circles, it's an expensive
Oh
sport.
yeah.
Them
Yep.
sprint guys, they got a lot of money, and they got some fascinating small blocks that make just a ton of power.
Yep.
But that ain't no $5,000 motor.
No.
You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, right.
So,
Yeah. Very true.
So that's why this whole grudge racing got invented, because it brought it back, but it was the guys that were on the street that said, hey, we want to go to the track, we still want to get it on in our own methods, but we don't want to do it on the street, and that's kind of how this whole grudge come back.
Right.
But now the grudge scene, you can't, that's what took away from the class racing. They have $1,000, maybe $2,000 purses, but that's what's intriguing everybody now. It's winner takes all, but dude, you're running for 10 grand.
Right.
So it's pulling guys like me and everybody else to a different side of this sport, and you're getting a height. And we side bet as we go up, Nobody says you can't.
Right.
I mean, you got this kind of money, and most of the guys will take $200, $300, $400 bet on the side when you go up in lanes,
Right.
So it's just cool. It keeps the action just constantly going, but the crazy part is when you come through the burnout box, you got 300 people sitting at that starting line, and you're staging this car. And it's just, as a driver, you got to focus so hard because they're like staring in the window as you're staging this thing, giving
Hey, what are you doing in there?
Yeah, they're like giving you thumbs up, and I'm like, dude, just
Right.
it's like racing on the street, but it's at the track. So it's very cool for anybody that hasn't got to have that kind of entertainment. Because the best one that just cracked me up, Danny was at Bowling Green, Kentucky, or Bowling Green Tractor Pulls, right?
Okay. All right.
And so he's there all weekend, and I called Danny up, and I'm like, hey, meet me at the track on Saturday. You want to talk about a culture change? Because he went all from being with the, country boys to Detroit. So Danny's like, this is a different culture change. And I'm like, yeah, this is a little different, But like I said, everybody's cool, but everybody takes it very serious, and so do them guys.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the same way, and anytime money's involved, it always gets hairy. If I sit here and tell you that it don't get rowdy in staging lanes, I've seen Squinch is a perfect one. He about had an all-out brawl. He got beat, and he throws $1,000 in the air, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you just never know what's going to happen.
Right.
So,
well, like you said, everybody, and it's you're doing some side bets, but it's mainly a pride. Most of these guys would do it for just the pride.
Oh, that's what it is.
Because you're taking so much time. Like you said, you spent a 12-hour tune session just on one deal on your car, and a lot of these guys do it. And like you said, most of these guys, such as yourself, and a lot of these guys have a lot of hard-earned hours, and you're doing it yourself. You're putting it together. You're not going out buying it and doing all this stuff. You guys are doing it all yourself, and there's a lot of pride in that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure there is.
Yeah, because, just we gutted all the wiring and stuff and just putting his car back together. And, that week before this race, we was trying to make it. We actually had a torque converter issue, but I bet I had 12 hours of sleep in a whole week trying to get there.
Yeah.
It was just nuts. I'm just going ballistic, but I knew Scotty was coming up, and to have that kind of knowledge, it all panned out. I slept on Sunday. I got my sleep back.
There you go.
But that's what a lot of people don't understand. Whatever sport it is, what we go through just to have the opportunity of getting in this hot rod.
Yeah.
Now, the guy you was talking about, a guy from Roush came down too.
Yeah.
Now, is that Roush up in Michigan?
Yeah, it is. That right out of Livonia.
Okay, I met two of those guys were at the sprint car race 2 weeks ago because they're actually looking at developing a 360 sprint car engine now, and I got to ride in their Roush pace truck with them up to Lake Odessa a couple weeks ago. Super nice guys, and I knew they was doing some drag stuff and some other things, and they talked about that, and they're trying to break into some sprint car stuff now too. So, and it's all going to be right up there at Livonia where they're talking about doing all this.
Well, if you've never been up there, it's they got 8 dyno rooms.
Oh wow!
And it doesn't matter what they're beating on that day. It's just it's an old shop to go into because that's where they first started at.
Yep.
But the stuff that they're into, and Joe is actually on the I want to say the trucks through the dirt. I'm sorry, I don't know what they call it. The off-road trucks.
Oh, right.
That's what Joe's into.
Yep.
That helps me. Yeah. But me and Joe met way back in the day, and Joe's been around street racing up in Detroit forever, and that's how we got to know each other. And actually, that was my connection with the motor with Scott. So it just keeps trickling down, and everything comes to effect. But dude, it's so cool to have your engine builder there, tuner, and it's just knowledge. It's just you just can't imagine the kind of knowledge and everything that these computers take. I really never dreamt that I would go down this road, but it's so intriguing because, like me and Cy talked about, if you can imagine it, and that poor Cyrus, I used to put him through heck and back to try to get something wired up. I'm just not going to fib about it. Sometimes I just don't understand it, but I knew what I wanted. Now, in this Dominator, like for instance, on the nitrous side of it, we can go out and pedal the car, and it's got a program in there that says, do you want to restart from, go back to restart, or do you want all 4 stages to come in? Do you want a delay in it? See, our biggest thing is when we go out and I got to pedal a car, I kept telling Cy, I'm like, dude, I just need a 2/10 window.
Right.
I just need that tire to catch. It's already built into this thing.
Yep.
And it's just, it's very cool, very intriguing. And after we're all done, you stand outside this car and you fire it up. You don't sit in it. You don't pump the pedal, and that's 762 cubic inch. You're firing up, just hitting a switch. It's just awesome.
Right.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, very intriguing.
No doubt. Jay Trissel is our guest from AJ Door and Fast Forward Motorsports. Jay, you made a comment a little bit earlier that you dropped 500 pounds off this car. Did I hear you correctly?
Yeah, that's correct.
How do you shave 500 pounds off a car like that?
A lot of Metabo blades.
A lot of money.
Actually, when I was doing the car, it was a stock suspension car before. Okay. So it was all steel doors, all steel body. Mm-hmm. It still is, but now it's fiberglass doors. It is still steel roof, steel quarters. It's still got the steel floor pans, but kind of like Dwayne said, we got lightweight axles. Everything's lightweight. Actually got a carbon fiber drive shaft coming. we moved we moved a lot of weight around, but when we cut everything behind the car out of it, you know, everything's tub now, 4-linked. It's all done in aluminum. I mean, we probably could have lost more if I went carbon fiber, but honestly, that's just dumb money. And to the guys that and don't get me wrong, I did everything we could, but even like in my rims and tires, my rims are 16 pounds now. The old ones were 48. You know, it's just.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, you just start adding it all up and, you know, just going crazy trying to do this. And then everybody else is telling me I got to start walking behind the golf cart. So I guess that's my next step.
There you go. Now, you guys don't have a weight limit on anything? They don't have a rule per se?
Not in grudge racing.
Okay.
Class racing, like if I would take this same car, I would have to weigh 2,775 pounds.
Yep.
Okay, so actually right now we would have to add about 100 pounds to the car. But when it comes to the grudge racing rules, the only thing that they're dying to see the car on is measure wheelbase.
Yep.
But the new rules that come out was you could have quarter or roof in carbon fiber, but everything else had to be steel. You could run any kind of rear suspension, but you had to have a stock style front suspension. Well, we do still have stock style. But here was the main rule. It had to be plus or minus 1 inch of stock wheelbase. Well, I'm 100.9, and that is exactly what a Mustang wheelbase is. But to anybody that understands drag racing and the amount of power that we got, that wheelbase really sucks. Because once that car gets out of control, it's just such a handful because you don't have, you know, it just wants to come around on you so bad. But I put my pride away, and we could put a Pro Mod size tire in this car, but we got 28s back on it.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks I'm a nutbag, but whatever. You know, but we've got the muscle to hang with this class. We got the muscle to go out and have fun. But it is very dangerous because, you know, we have the potential. We actually have 1,500 in nitrous, and the motor's going to make a little over 1,200. So, you know, you got a potential rear wheel horse of this combination that I have making at least 22 plus 100 horse, you know.
Right.
Just depends how many pistons you want to keep changing.
Right.
So.
And it depends how hard you can hold on.
Yeah, well, that's it. You know, you can clinch for so long.
That's right. You can pucker for, you know, after 5-6 seconds, you know, you might.
That's the buns of steel workout.
That's right.
All right. We need to pay some bills here real quick. How's that? We have Jay Trissel with us here today from Fast Forward Motorsports and AJ Dorr. And also, obviously, Dwayne Hancock, who's always with us on Monday on The Throttle. We are talking drag racing today, and we're going to continue talking drag racing. Plus, we'll look around the area and see who won over the weekend, because it looked like Chad had a good Friday night as well.
Yes.
But we need to make that register go cha-ching, cha-ching here one time for Susie and the girls. And we're going to step away. When we come back, we'll get back into talking racing here on The Throttle.
Is Northwest Ohio's largest
633-2508. Snyder Tree Service in Bryant. They do the job right the first time.
All right, 12:31 right now on the queue. We're on the throttle, and we have Jay Trissel with us here today. We're talking drag racing, and Jay, I'll tell you what, I'm just totally impressed with the horsepower that you're talking about right now. I mean, you know, we talk an awful lot with the racers that come in here every week on the guys that go around in circles. But to think that you could put your foot on the throttle like that and take off that darn fast, even my grandmother didn't drive that fast. How's that?
It's very intriguing. You know, a lot of people always ask, and I'm sure the sprint guys can abide by this saying. You know, we pull any given time 2.5 up to 3.5 G's, and I know the sprint guys. I know they pull some serious G's coming out the curves too,
Yep.
and you know, and that's one thing that's just intriguing by this, you know. And, you know, we talked about the small tire that I'm putting on the car. Even that small tire, you know, we still pull 2.5 G's, and you know, I got a certain aspect in that first 60 foot. But to give a glimpse of how competitive we need to be, you know, we need to run like a 290 in the first 330. And to give you an example, the 330 to the 660, we do it in 1.4 seconds or less.
Yeah.
So you start thinking about that, and all of a sudden somebody's covering that kind of area. You know, that's close to a 440, 430 pass, and that's humping right along. You know, and
Oh yeah.
and having the advantage to run the Pro Mod back a couple years ago, you know, when we went that 408, that was beyond awesome. You know, I wanted in the threes so bad just to say I got in the threes. You know, but. Hopefully my time will come on that, Jim, and you know,
Well, maybe this new car or this new deal.
Well, I did tell my brother, I'm like, sometime don't freak out if you see me just keep on trucking past the 8th mile. I'm going for that 200-mile-an-hour mark.
There you go. That's right.
You know, so.
Where can people go if they're into drag racing and they're really not familiar with the area? Where do you go watch a drag race around this part of the country?
Well, real nice tracks to go around in this area. You know, you always have Norwalk, and they put an experience on like no other, especially around their Night Under Fire. That's just awesome. That's usually in August. Plus, they got the big boys coming up for 4th of July that you see on TV, NHRA. They'll be there, I believe, the week before 4th of July, that weekend, last weekend in June.
I think it is. And Ron Capps and the Napa car's been doing pretty good.
Yeah. Go for Napa. You know, and we go to 131, which is up in Martin, Michigan. Very nice track, too. Milan Dragway. It's an older track, but nice track to go to. And Muncie, Indiana, we roll down that way. Now, we've been all over, you know, as far as Ohio Valley and St. Louis. And I was just speaking, I would like to go back to Georgia again because that's just a beautiful track. But I mean, that they call it the home of the flying cars, and they ain't lying. And that's where you see all these crazy ones going, you know, 370s on a radial tire, but they're also 40 feet in the air because they take off at 160 mile an hour. Though a car will take flight at 160 mile an hour, and it's intriguing.
Yeah, I've seen a video here. I think it was a week or two ago. Somebody down there got upside down, kind of dislaunched, and Milan. I've actually been there. You know, I have been to one drag. Well, actually, I've been to 2 drag tracks, but Milan is one I've been to.
Has the drag season started already, Jay, or is it?
No, it is underway. In fact, we went up last Sunday. We actually took Mr. Baker's truck. Unfortunately, he had a red light in first round. We did have some money on the side, but he's got a bad hot rod. That's a bad dude.
Oh, that's a nice truck.
Sherm's done very, very well with that truck. And,
well, I have to give him some crap when he comes in the store and say, hey, are you colorblind? You know the difference between red and green?
one guy sent him a big red tomato, and at first he didn't get it, and then all of a sudden it dawned on him. He wasn't very happy about that.
Yeah, Sherm don't seem like he gets upset too much, but he's one of those guys seems like when he gets upset, it's probably not good for the people around him.
He's a pretty mellow dude. But we actually had a good time, but that he's got a strong running truck. And then Randy Franks got third at Norwalk. I did see that, so that was cool. And we have a big no-box event coming up the first week in June that my daughter will be racing and going down with all that and hanging out with her. So I got a little bit of time yet. You know, my car's going to come back out, and unfortunately I'm a little busy, but I still have. I'm blessed to go racing with my daughter, and I looked at her and I said, "Well, you're still first before the old mistress." So I said, she's like, "Really, Dad?"
There you go.
But it's so cool, and I enjoy this sport. I love this sport, and it's just what I always been into, and it's never stopped. The only way it's going to stop is if you shut your brain off, and I think that's with any sport. And
Oh yeah.
and it's such a blessing to be here with you guys. But as far as the season goes, Jim, no, it's going to be a good season, and we're going to actually get cranked up towards I would say more July is when you're going to favorably see me come out strong.
Okay.
And hopefully we have a good season, and I'll keep you guys posted.
And you're
Yeah.
planning on racing where then? I mean, how many races will you get in? If everything goes perfectly for you this year,
I could run every week if I wanted to, but actually I'm going to be probably more of a late season kind of starter. I know we're going to hit a race in July. I'm going to miss the next. There's actually a race at 131 Memorial Weekend, big grudge race. Actually, Brian Davis is putting it on. And then no ET starting out, and I've got a call out already. I just don't know if I want to temptate fate this early in the season by getting rooked in with this one, but Wayne and Jimbo, they're climbing up me pretty good, and that's Motor City Jimbo. That's also been on TV, and they got a pretty bad hot rod. But it's like anything. Sometimes you want to pick on the little bit of. It's like playing pool. You never want to show your game right
That's
off the
right.
bat,
Sure.
because as soon as you pick on the big boy, there's no turning around. So I just got to use my head here a little bit and see what happens and have a good time.
Well, there you go. Now I know, you always put on a big deal with the AJ Door Fast Forward Motorsports deal with the car show and everything. I know you got that scheduled again this year too.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, buddy. I can't believe I forgot about that.
I got your back, buddy. that's why we got show sponsors. I'm not as dumb as I look some days.
Which Dwayne from Napa Auto Parts, Bryan, Ohio. July 29th, Saturday, from 8 o'clock till 2 o'clock is my main event again this year. We will have dyno days again, which that was pretty cool. We had about 12 cars that day. That was a great day. And then we averaged almost 80 cars at the car show. Doesn't cost anything for anybody to come in. It's a give back. We do a hog roast. I got Joe Vasquez coming in again. I also have Jim from Signature Band playing. And God bless Jim. I just want to say that. He come off of cancer. He's back.
is he doing well?
Yeah,
Awesome.
he's actually playing next weekend again for the very first time.
Cool.
So God bless him because he's just a cool dude. But great festivities coming up on that on July 29th, 8 o'clock. AJ Door, West Unity, Ohio, Linden Street. Phone number 419-924-5533. Yep,
There
I
you
threw
go.
that in there, Jim.
That's right. You have to.
You're one of the sponsors, man. You own this show.
Yeah, that's right. If it wasn't for guys like you, Jim and I, we'd have to talk to each other.
That's exactly.
They wouldn't put us on the air right. Yeah.
That wouldn't go very far.
Yeah, because he wants to talk about a bad football team in Cleveland, and I want to talk about racing and and a
better
good
off
football
talking
team
racing.
in Pittsburgh.
We're better off talking racing.
Copy that.
Exactly where we're at this point in time. No, but that is a fun. And I was there last year. Man, that was just a. Hopefully the weatherman will help you just a little bit because, man, he rained on us just at the wrong time last year, didn't he?
Yeah, but it went off without a hitch. I might as well say, and to have the Kentucky Headhunters in here and stuff. I met people that I haven't met before, and they've called upon me, and just for the simple fact of putting that show on, but it's such a cool thing to do because I get to see past and new customers, but we don't get to see a lot of our customers out there, and it's just good business,
Yeah.
and it's always paying it back, and that's what I feel I'm doing, and always said I'd always do it. And the day that I stopped, I think it's time for me to get out of the business, you know.
No, I'd agree.
I might have to go take the company Equinox up there and hook it up to the dyno and see what we can do.
I think we had a gift certificate for the lowest horsepower.
Yes, I like to win.
Oh, shoot. That is.
I won last place. I love it.
As long as he gets a trophy.
That's right.
That's right.
He's a happy guy. No doubt about that. Wait for a minute. Let's get him off the drag side of this and talk a little bit about the normal racing that we deal with here. The guys go in circles every week.
Yeah, and it was a huge weekend because everybody in the area actually got the races in since the Mother Nature was
Finally.
nice to us. Yeah.
Yeah, finally.
And where I was Friday night, Eldora Speedway, Logan Schuhart won the World Outlaw Show, which he's the low budget team of the World Outlaws. Him and his grandpa and his they go all over the tour. They're just a small team, and he shocked it. It's the second Outlaw win of the year, but he did good. And Justin Grant, the hottest non-wing driver in the country right now, won the non-wings. Then Saturday down to Eldora, Tony Stewart's racing, of course. Home track, Donnie Schatz won his 9th feature win of the year with the Outlaws, and Robert Blue from Rockland, California, broke his neck in California last year. Has been out 8 months. Got released from the doctor. Wasn't supposed to get released till July. Got released last week. Slammed some cars together. Made his debut at Eldora Friday night.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's Die Hard.
and he won Saturday, his second race back, and guess he was a little upset about a few things afterwards because our buddy with One Dirt magazine there tried to do some interviews with him afterwards, and I guess that didn't go so hot.
Oh,
But,
yeah? What upset him?
I guess he was having some issues with the track and some medical releases is making him sign with
okay.
coming back with a broken neck. So, we'll see. Robert, he's a character. But, yeah, it was good to see him, being out that long, come back and win. But we raced at Fremont, and, Friday night, actually, you brought it up earlier, team I helped, Chad Wilson, actually made his first ever national USAC sprint car main event Saturday night, and 31 cars, and with 15th quick, and got 15th in the A main, which was...
I thought that was excellent.
Yep, his first career national event start, so that was good. Then went to Fremont Saturday night with the boss, which were run for points, and won the heat race, and got 6th in the A main there, which winner of that's a good friend of ours and fellow Pittsburgh Steeler fan, by the way, Dustin Smith from Kokomo, Indiana.
Let's put a hold on this for just a minute. Are you a Steelers fan as well?
No. No, sorry, boss. I'm just straight line. I don't get into much anything else.
Football doesn't bother you whatsoever.
No baseball, no football. We're good.
No problem. I was just hoping that maybe you would be a Colts fan.
If I really told you I was a Vikings fan, both of you would be booting me out. So I'll just let that go.
I'll take the Vikings side. It makes it 2 against 1 at that point. How's that? And I need all the help I can get because my team's been really bad for a long time.
Maybe I can get Dustin on our show sometime soon.
Bring Dustin along sometime. I'd love to. And make sure he dresses in black and gold.
Yeah. But yeah, Dustin, he won the boss feature there Saturday night at Fremont, and John Ivey, he was on, got his 53rd career win, moved the 5th all-time on the list at Fremont career win list in the 305s. Johnny got that win, so it was great to see Johnny win that. That was actually a really close race. And then Dustin Keegan, a friend of mine, he won the truck race. And then Kai Harper, he won the late models. And Angola, Saturday night, Hunter Jack won the late models. Tony Dagger won the modifieds. Zach Henderson, the street stocks. And Attica Friday night, we almost forgot them. Our buddy Kyle Sauter got 2nd to Jared Horseman again. I mean, it's 2 weeks in a row. Horseman and Sauter's been 1-2 in the 360s around here. Then Jeff Babcock won the late models, and Paul Weaver the 305s. Butler up to Quincy, Michigan, race Saturday night. Local Chad Blond took that win in the sprint cars. Corey Vivard won the modifieds. Bob Dooley made it 2 in a row in the street stocks, and Terry Wilbur in the front wheel drives. Let's see, Oak Shade. They finally got a race in after they've had all kind of rainouts. Rusty Slank won the late models there. Drew Smith won the Sportsmans. Greg Detrey won the Bombers, and Corey Gum won the Compacts, and Waynesfield, Weasel Flippo. Flippo's been racing for about 40 years, the family. Weasel finally got a win it's been a while since they've been in Victory Lane. And then mini sprints was Kobe Ellison. Trucks was Chris Hicks, and mod lights were Doug Stanley. So that was all the area. Bearfield, they raced. Have no idea who won because they don't like to put that out, evidently, until it's too late.
If you don't go, then it's
Yeah.
a secret.
And one note for the locals, Angola is taking the weekend off this weekend.
Okay.
They're not racing because we have that big short track deal coming up at Bristol. That Hope Hornish, our guest, was, the big event she's talking about. She's actually already down there. She was practicing last weekend, and that's this weekend. And we're actually going to have some live deals from down there on our Facebook page
cool.
from our buddy Tyler Perry. He's going down, and we got him hooked up on the Facebook page to do some live reports with the big short track nationals that's been making the news since last year when they announced it for. All the little guys get to go race Bristol this weekend.
Oh, wonderful, man. That sounds like a great weekend, man.
Yep. And, of course, full slate around here again this weekend, too. We got Attica has fast sprint cars on Friday night. Tony Stewart's All-Star Sprints go down to Kokomo, Indiana, Friday night. And Tony is actually going to race, and they said it's going to be the only wing sprint car race he races in the state of Indiana this year.
Wow.
So Friday night down to Kokomo. Then we got the sod sprint cars up to Hartford, Michigan, and the NRA sprints at Lima on Friday. Then Saturday, Bearfield debuts their dirt track for the sod sprint cars. It'll be the first race ever on the new dirt track built inside the pavement track there on Saturday night. Fremont has the fast sprints, and the non-wing boss sprint cars that we race with Chad Wilson will be down to Lawrenceburg, Indiana, just a suburb of Cincinnati, and there's a big thing across the street called Hollywood Casino that could be.
See, I'm sure
No,
there won't be a
no. Rumor is we have a free room there again. They like us when we come down there and we have free room. Then Sunday, one of the biggest events at Toledo Speedway for a bunch of stock car pavement fans, the ARCA Supercars are at Toledo. 2 o'clock on Sunday, and some notes for that. 16-year-old Thad Moffitt, that just sounds like a regular old guy to me, but he is the 4th generation of Petty family racing as Richard Petty's grandson. He made his debut a month ago in Nashville and did pretty decent with the King by his side. And I don't know if there'll be a King sighting in Toledo this weekend or not, but he says Grandpa is his main advisor, so possibility that one of the greatest names of stock car racing could be in Toledo this weekend. And then
That's cool.
Harrison Burton, son of NASCAR's Jeff Burton that raced for years, his son's entered too. So some NASCAR flavor. You're getting the 3rd and 4th generation drivers going to be at Toledo on Sunday. So another fun-filled weekend around here.
Sounds that way. Jay, and you, one last quick comment about your daughter, because you made a comment a couple times that she's racing.
Yep.
How many races will she get in this summer, and where can we see her race at some point?
Well, actually, we're going to be at Norwalk that first weekend of June. Then we're going to be in Fun Ford up to Martin. I get too many M's.
Right.
Up in Martin in July, but actually her season's cut short a little bit because she's still in college, and very proud of her. She made the Masters this year, so actually, unfortunately, she's got to go back to school the middle of June. So we're still getting it in. Actually, we took her out on Test and Tune day opener at Norwalk, so we already had hers out, and Old Faithful there. She's good for 1050s, 1060s all day long. So, big intriguing, and I enjoy racing with her, and she's always done a great job.
So you may need a teammate for her car when she goes back to college? That's right.
There goes that 500 pounds.
Yeah, there goes that. Well, yeah, that's what she said. She's like, Dad, if you put me in your car, I'll go a 10th faster. I'm like, no, it ain't happening. Nah, but we have a good time together, and it's always great to get the cars back out, and I'm excited because I've been waiting 2 years to get mine back out, and it's always kind of funny. You never think that you have a fan base or anybody, because we just go do our own thing, but it's been really cool because I didn't know it. I was trying to actually keep the car under hat, and Joey had posted it on Facebook, so the news media, so I go to the track with Sherm on Sunday. And actually, Wayne was there, and I was kind of playing the dumb pool guy, and he's like, so I seen my boy was up helping you. I said, I don't know what you're talking about, man. And all of a sudden, he turns the phone around. I'm like, oh, no. I'm like, Joe, you could have told me, man.
Social
So,
media, baby. Social media.
yeah, I got called out on that one, boy.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
But no, exciting season, and always a pleasure to be here with you guys. And I am very happy to be a sponsor because it's always cool, people talking about this, and it's appreciative of what you guys do and Dwayne does to the local fans. I can't never say it enough. By putting the racers out there, I know we're just local guys. We don't mean a whole lot to anybody, but you hear your name on the radio, dude, it makes you want to go turn wrenches again,
And we got a lot of people listening. I mean, the feedback has just been great from just different people. And our guest a couple weeks ago, we had Mark Young, that he's big into motorcycle deal, and we haven't hit a lot of motorcycle. We've been doing some off road,
right.
drag, and he called me this morning and says, he's still getting people, 2 weeks later talking about, hey, we heard you on the show, it was great, and just,
that's cool.
It's real cool that. With all the support, we keep growing and growing, and guys like you, it's awesome that you help us out, and hopefully it's helping maybe bring a few people over there to Fast Forward Motorsports.
Absolutely. Much appreciated.
And I know we'll look for a big open house there in July. I know we'll try to. We're usually off racing somewhere that weekend, so I hardly ever make it. But I know some of our people from the store goes over. I know Debbie tries to go over, and I know Ted tries to go over. And stuff.
Yeah.
So so we.
We'll media
Yeah.
on the thing again. That way, if Dwayne's not there, at least he can see what's going on.
Well, that's right.
Why his employees ain't at work.
That's right.
No doubt about that. All right, guys, that's going to wrap it up before we go here one more time. One last plug about that weekend, Jay, please, for the folks that are looking forward to it.
Yeah, the event's going on July 29th. We are going to be putting some stuff out on Facebook and media through Fast Forward Motorsports to where we will have a break on getting on the dyno. Like last year, I think we did it for $50 a car. You'll get 3 poles, and we will have some giveaways again. And Dwayne from Napa and Bryan, Ohio, he's always a blessing, and he helped us out a little bit there, but he's been a big part of this too, so we're always appreciative of him. And July 29th starts at 8 o'clock, and it'll go till 2. We have bands, giveaways. Don't cost you nothing other than the boys that want to beat on their hot rods, but we won't make it. We'll make it favorable for you.
Oh, we'll definitely sponsor it again, and get that information, and we'll share it all on the Throttle Facebook page and stuff too. That way,
cool.
We'll get it out all over for you.
Thanks,
No doubt about
thanks,
that.
guys.
That's going to wrap it up for us today. Jay Trissel, our guest today from AJ Door and Fast Forward Motorsports. And Jay, best of luck this year, when you're hitting that big pedal there and you're driving
Thanks,
that
buddy.
car in that straight line for us, okay?
Thanks, buddy.
You bet. On the Throttle, brought to you by Lob Auto Parts, Suburban Auto, AJ Door, Brian Ford, Jason Dietz Customs and Collisions, Trailers and Trailer Repair, Fast Forward Motorsports, Brian Ford Lincoln, and Snyder Tree Service. And we do it every week on Monday right after that noon news.